the West and into your hearts. It's the Michael Reagan Show.
We're back, everybody. Mike Reagan here, 1-800-468-MIKE, 1-800-468-6453. This is the Michael Reagan Radio Talk Show. It is a gorgeous day. You know, every day here, Brett, is just really a gorgeous day in California. That's why I live here. I live for these kind of days. They're great, gorgeous, wonderful days. Anyway, back with you, everybody. Friday, of course, I was not here. I was out speaking in St. Louis, Missouri, if you will. On Thursday, I think it was Thursday. Was it Thursday, Brett, or Wednesday? I forget what day. What day was it, Dan? It was Tuesday. All right, Tuesday. You know, all the days seem to run together all of the time. I was telling you a story about a man by the name of Mark Dice, who, in fact, is part of what they call the Resistance Manifesto. And, in fact, I was telling you about the fact he was sending DVDs, or had plans to send DVDs, if you will, to the troops serving both in Afghanistan and in Iraq to try to, I guess, undermine the morale over there, tell them things that I just thought were absolutely outrageous, buying into the whole 9/11 conspiracy theory, if you will. I don't know what he's going to try to accomplish by that, but I said some things about him. I talked about the fact that, you know, if somebody just shot the guy, I would probably pay for the bullets. And, you know, I shouldn't have said that. I really shouldn't have said that. Angry with him, yes. Upset with him, yes, for what he's doing. But I should not have said that. And I guess I said it. And I talked to Mark, by the way, over the weekend. And I said that, I think I talked to him on Friday, that in fact the reason I was angry and mad and all those kind of things is because, you know, I just, as you all know, you listen to my show, was just on the USS Ronald Reagan as she deployed 3 weeks ago today. She deployed. And I flew out to her, as I've always done. I go down and visit her a lot and probably met basically every sailor aboard the USS Ronald Reagan and wished them Godspeed and all those things. And, you know, I spent a lot of time visiting with sailors, a lot of time visiting with the military, if you will, around the country. And so it really was like a dagger to my heart that somebody would, you know, really do that. Fight the battle here, but sending DVDs over there I thought was just really outrageous. But what I said was equally as outrageous. Should not have said it, and I apologize for saying it. And I called Mark and said, listen, I'll tell you what, why don't you come on the show and, you know, have some time on my show, tell everybody what you're, in fact, doing and why, and, in fact, what you plan to accomplish with these DVDs by sending them to the troops in the Middle East. So on the hotline I have Mark Dice. Mark, welcome to the show.
Let's make it clear, first of all, that you didn't say if somebody shoots me that you would pay for the bullets. You suggested that people find me and others and shoot us without a trial, and then that you would pay for the bullets. And you have a history, Michael, of making these violent statements. You've called for blowing up Muslim babies with grenades. You've called for the hanging of Howard Dean. And I just want to read you California's Penal Code 422, which states that any person who willfully threatens to commit a crime which results in the death or great bodily injury of another person with the specific intent that the statement made verbally, in writing, or by means of electronic device is to be taken as a threat, even if there is no intent of actually carrying out that threat on its face and under the circumstances in which it is made, is so unequivocal, unconditional, immediate, and specific as to convey to the person threatened a gravity of purpose and an immediate prospect of execution of the threat, and thereby causes that person reasonably to be in a sustained state of fear for his own safety or for the immediate family member's safety, that person shall be imprisoned in the court, in the county jail, not exceeding 1 year, or imprisonment in the state prison.
All right. I mean, okay, you and I talked about it the other day, and, you know, we can go back and forth about threats to my staff all over the country from your people calling and emailing.
Oh, no.
But Mark, I want to get the issue, okay? I've apologized. That's all I can do. I can't do any more than Mark, I can't do any more than apologize for what I said, you know, on the show. That's all I can do. I can't do any more. No. And I said I'd bring you on to talk about your Resistance Manifesto, and I'd just like to find out about that, why why the Resistance Manifesto, why the DVDs to our military serving in the war, in Baghdad or in Iraq and in Afghanistan, and what you plan to accomplish by, in fact, sending DVDs and letters to our troops. So I'd like to really get to that if possible.
Sure. But first of all, I want to make it clear again. You, despite your apology, you have opened a Pandora's box that can never be closed. The ramifications of your threats and your suggestions are enormous and frightening. You understand that in an age when somebody can make a few clicks with a keyboard, that somebody's home address can be found, your comments open the door for stalking, vandalism,
Mark, can we get these? Your people have been calling me on my cell phone over the weekend, so they have my cell number, all that information out there, my addresses. You have people coming by where I work. So, can we, stop with the tit for tat for a moment and get to the issue of why you're doing the DVDs and what you plan to accomplish by them? That would be terrific, because that would accomplish something. Let the audience also know why you're doing it and what you're trying to accomplish by sending DVDs. What are in the DVDs? What are in the letters you're sending the troops in Iraq?
We're sending the troops DVDs of the film Terror Storm, which is available for free viewing on Google Video. And the details of this campaign are available on markdice.com. We're sending declassified documents of Operation Northwoods, which is a declassified document which was approved by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It's an operational plan where our government planned terrorist attacks against our own country by paying terrorists and then blaming another country for it, so that they can then justify political action against that country.
And so, when did this happen? Who is the president, and what have you?
Are you familiar with Operation Northwoods?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't? Well, you can just check it out. It's declassified. It's in the National Archives.
Who is the president, and when did this happen?
This was a few administrations. This was during the Kennedy administration, and that doesn't mean that this president.
Well, that makes a big difference.
No, it doesn't make a big difference. The precedent for committing terrorist acts and blaming it on other countries has not only been set, but has been put in black and white and approved by former administrations at the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So this idea has been out there.
That was 50 years ago in the Kennedy administration, and you're bringing it forward now. What are you planning? When the troops see this, Mark, when the troops see this, what is your plan for the troops to do? Throw down their weapons, leave Baghdad, leave Afghanistan? When they see this, what are you trying to accomplish by sending these DVDs and letters from something happened 50 years ago in the Kennedy administration? What are you planning for the troops to do? What do you want them to do?
Oh, we're not just sending them administration papers from decades ago. We're sending them evidence that's current, evidence that 9/11 was allowed to happen on one level and aided by elements within this government.
Mark, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish by it?
I'll get to that if you would just please stop cutting me off. This government has a history of staging terrorist attacks and of smearing and of putting disinformation out to start wars. Are you familiar that the Gulf of Tonkin incident was staged?
Yes, that was another Democrat, by the way. Thank you very much. You're into two Democrats during a Republican administration, and you're trying to use two Democratic administrations to try and cause what in Afghanistan and in Iraq?
Oh, no, let's talk about NORAD standing down, the explosives in the building, evidence of thermate being used, cutting charges.
Where?
The buildings falling at near free fall speed.
Oh, you're talking about 9/11.
We're talking about the current attacks on 9/11. Listen, you want to know what we want to accomplish? We want the troops to know the truth. We want to know the extent of the lies that got them into that position.
And then do what, Mark?
Well, let me finish here. We want them to start demanding answers. We want them to start demanding justice. We want them to start demanding that they be returned home. We want to hold Bush and the criminals accountable. We want to make sure that this sort of a thing never happens again. I've gotten emails from troops that are stationed overseas and in Iraq thanking me for this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one email. Hey, man, I saw what happened with Michael Reagan on the Fox News thing. This is awesome what you're doing. About 60% of the enlisted guys I work with know good and well the truth. Everybody around me pretty much hears what's really going on, and it brings a lot of discussion and debate. And that's what we want to do. We want to make a safe climate for the troops to discuss these issues, for them to understand the circumstances and the lies and the crimes that have gotten them into that position.
And then do what? Stand down, disobey orders, come on home, Once they got the
can make
information?
that, each individual soldier can make that decision on their own. Listen, more than one-third of Americans, according to Scripps Howard News Service polls and others, 36% of Americans believe that the American government corrupt elements, aided in the attack.